Every school has the quiet kid, but in this video we're going to talk about all the different types of quiet kids because believe it or not, while you may not hear from them much, they're not all built the same. A lot of them have problems, a lot of them don't have problems, and honestly, let's just get into it. So this first guy is unfortunately the very reason that the quiet kid label itself has a negative connotation, and it is could be a supervillain quiet kid. These are the kids that you're kind of scared of, but really curious about. You know, they're always like drawing something weird in their notebook, like skulls or a detailed battle scene, a beheading. You're not sure if they're an artistic genius or plotting world domination. Either way, this is why people are afraid of quiet kids and why acts of mass violence seem to be attributed to quiet kids and stuff. If they ever get called on in class, like they don't blink or anything, they just give the correct answer like a robot. Just deadpan delivery, perfect answer. It's kind of terrifying. A completely soulless rendition of the proper answer that was required. It's strange and it's a little concerning. In a lot of cases, you don't know this kid's name, but if you do, it's because you're scared that he might try to hurt you or someone you love. So you tell your friends like, yo, look out for Jason, let's say. Kid's mad sketchy. This is the kind of kid who, you know, maybe he's misunderstood or something like that, but it is in your best interest to try to be friends with this guy and like give him a hug or something, because if he's got a list of names somewhere, your goal is to not be on that list. Does not matter what it's for, it's probably bad. You want to be on that guy's good side. All right, let's lighten up the tone a little bit. This is going to be a bit more positive.
Before we get into anything real quick, I gotta let you guys know that I am now on Spotify. All the content on this channel will be over on Spotify, and every week I'll be doing an exclusive episode over there if you guys want to see it. And if you don't want to see it, well, just play it so I make money. All right, thanks.
We're going to have the really cool quiet kid. You know, the kid who barely talks, but when they do, it's always the funniest or most insightful thing anyone's ever heard. They're like some kind of comedy sniper. One shot, everybody's on the floor. You'd be stressing over a test and they whisper some dumb joke like, hey, at least we can all fail together. some shit like that, you know, something light. A lot of the times, these aren't really fully quiet kids. They're just kids who are not popular and have no desire to really be popular and just kind of do their own thing. They got a small group of friends. They don't really try to be anything they're not. You know, they don't call out in class. They're not here to be a spectacle. They just ride solo. But if you talk to them, I'm sure they'll be nice and you'll maybe make a new friend. These kids are great. A lot of social media has made people think that at all times they have to be the center of attention and stuff like that, but I think it's pretty important that we show some love to the quiet kids. I love saying that after the first guy. I just basically insinuate that he's violent and angry. Next up, we got the mysterious anime protagonist quiet kid. This kid is constantly role-playing like an anime character. He's straight out of a Netflix original. They sit in the back of the room, staring at the window like they're waiting for their tragic backstory to start. These are the kind of kids that when they get enough money from their first job, they blow it all on a katana or something weird. Listen, I fuck with katanas, but if you're telling me you're in high school and you've stacked up the McDonald's money to buy a katana, and you also just kind of don't talk to anyone in school, I'm gonna send you a link to an autism test. Their whole vibe screams, don't talk to me, you know, I'm too deep for this math class. But then you realize they're just tired because they stayed up all night playing video games. These sort of kids are the reason that anime gets a bad rep. Like, these kids will randomly drop some Japanese slang that they learned from Death Note or some shit and try to like pass it off, you know, sneak it into a conversation nonchalantly, expecting no one to like stare at him. About to say some shit like, huh, you silly baka. What, bro? What did you just say to me? Like, your name is James. Like, you don't have to say baka. I'm telling you, bro, I don't think that anime is a bad thing, but I do think the people that act like this make it a bad thing. Even the gesticulation, you know, like the way they move around, the motions that they do with their hands and fingers, seems like it's being emulated from a show that they've watched. They'll be all quiet in the back of the class, but then they'll like split their hand so that half their fingers are one way and half their fingers are the other way, and then use the space in between the gap to like put their eye in the middle of it so they look all mysterious and stuff. It's weird, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, next up, we just got the actually just shy kid. You know, this is the OG quiet kid. They're not weird, they're not mysterious, they're just shy. They're just introverted. Like, if you say hi to him, they'll respond, but it's always in this barely audible whisper. You want to be their friend, but they're just so quiet, you start doubting if they even like you. And it's not because they don't don't like you. It's because they're just shy. Example, they'll accidentally drop their pencil, and when you hand it back, they'll mumble thanks, like it physically hurt to talk or something. Every quiet kid we have now is a result of this guy, the OG just shy quiet kid. A lot of the times, these are people who will grow out of their shyness. Like once they hit adulthood or they go through puberty, they'll become more extroverted naturally, the more comfortable they've become in their own shoes. But, maybe high school, middle school, whatever it is, they are just kind of to themselves, they're nervous, and they overthink a lot of things. They maybe believe that people are judging them way too harshly, and that because of the judgment, they are supposed to stay to themselves and stuff like that. But if you are just naturally shy and you're more to yourself because of the way you are, it's fine. But if you think that you like to be to yourself because you're afraid of like other people's judgment and stuff like that, maybe you should try to work on socializing and stuff like that to try to overcome these fears. But yeah, next up we got the randomly loud quiet kid. This is a kid who's 99% silent but randomly yells out the most unhinged stuff when nobody's expecting it. Like they've been holding it in all day and it just explodes. Like you're in the middle of a boring lecture and out of nowhere they shout some weird shit like pickles are overrated, and you're just sitting there like what just happened? I wonder if this kid is trying to be social and he's just nervous too, so eventually in random moments he'll muster up the courage to say something, but it's just always the wrong moment. You know what I'm saying? I feel like kids who randomly spurt out something nonsensical want to have normal conversations, but they're too nervous to, and so eventually they'll convince themselves not to be nervous at the most inconvenient time for their own optics. They'll overcome their anxiety and shyness and finally get the courage to say something to people, like during a lecture about slavery or the Holocaust, and it results in them blurting something out at a wildly inappropriate time. And now the negative attention that he gets, like the eyeballs and the looks because of what he just yelled out, leads him to just be more shy in the future. So in some ways, it's sort of an unfortunate vicious cycle that takes place with the randomly loud quiet kid, but there has to be some of these kids that are only randomly loud because they really think they've hit the golden opportunity to yell something out. Like they're normally quiet, but there will be moments where they really want to strike while the iron's hot. Like maybe he notices something that nobody else notices and wants to make a joke out of it, and so they just blurt something out. Alright, next up we got the secret genius quiet kid. This is the kid who's quiet because they're on another intellectual plane. While the rest of us are struggling to figure out long division, they're over there casually solving equations that look like they belong in a NASA lab, and they don't talk much, probably because they're bored. Like, these kids don't talk much, but when they do, it's either to casually correct the teacher or to explain quantum physics to a bunch of 13-year-olds like it's light work. They're also really good at, like, everything else, too, like solving Rubik's Cubes or, puzzles, Sudoku. Why is the quiet genius kid always the best at random stuff? They'll crush the math competition, ace every subject, and then casually destroy everyone in chess during lunch, like it's a warm-up for the spelling bee. These guys are legit walking LinkedIn profiles. But instead of bragging or anything, they're just sipping chocolate milk like a total mystery. And yeah, that's how that goes for that kid. Now, whether or not any of these quiet kids I've mentioned have friends usually depends on the circumstance. A lot of the times they like to keep to themselves, but other times they like keeping their circle small. Let me know if I missed any types of quiet kids down in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a part 2. But yeah, with that all being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And I'll see you guys all next time. Peace.